This episode of Cape Ann Today is brought to you by J&L Welding. We are back once again with Ethan Forman of the Gloucester Times to talk all things Gloucester, and there's a lot to unpack this week. How you doing, Ethan?
Hey, I'm pretty good. Good to see you, Corey. I know Heather's away, but it's great to be with you.
Yeah. Now you got to be a little groggy because of the school committee meeting last night, right?
That was getting to know Gloucester. I was literally in 5.5 hours of meetings yesterday, listening to the Planning and Development Committee, and then the school committee talking about the mask mandate. Now, it was a special meeting, and I must say that right off the bat, I am very impressed with Superintendent Lummis and his data-driven approach to this issue. This was not, I feel like when the mask should come off, I'm not sure. They did a survey. They had the health department there, Max Schenk, the school nurse from Gloucester High, Jeff, and presented a lot of data to the school committee for them to make their presentation, looking at vaccination rates and case rates and where they stand. So basically cases are falling in the schools. They're seeing about 11 cases. They had a big spike in January, and they're seeing the wastewater numbers going down. So the superintendent did a really good job. Spent about a half an hour, 45 minutes, really laying out the data. And one of the things that they did, which I thought was very interesting, was they surveyed families, they surveyed the staff, and they surveyed the kids at Gloucester High. And what they found was, in general, it was a kind of a mixed result about when they wanted the masks to come off. Superintendent wanted the masks mandate to end and make them optional on March 7th, giving the school district a little bit of time to message around masks. Masks are okay. But I think there was a sense in the community and the majority of the school committee that when the state mandate ends on February 28th, in other words, the state is telling schools, we're not going to tell you what to do. The Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, Department of Public Health, all that, it's up to you now. You can impose a mask mandate or not. And I think the feeling was that if this is going to be the date, Mayor Verga, quoting, I guess, a commentator or an email or something, said, let's rip the Band-Aid off. And it was about an hour discussion with the school committee, and I feel like they got dug in on their points. Now, one of the things that they were very concerned about is they seem to see spikes of cases after the breaks. So when they come back, so they go away on vacation and everyone's just unmasked and gathering.
Yep.
Come back, that's what they saw during this Omicron spike. They saw a little bit of it last year in 2021. And I think they saw evidence too around Thanksgiving, though it wasn't really sure. You really couldn't tell. So they wanted to give that week, get data. They get wastewater data. They have a program in the schools. They're giving kids tests, free tests. And not everyone has signed up for it. I think about a third of the students have. Don't quote me on that. And also they have a pool testing. It's not all the staff and students. So they wanted that data. And there was a strong feeling on the majority of the school committee that, hey, let's, take our time. Let's message about masks. Let's get that data. But I think the sentiment was, we really got to go back to normal. And I think Melissa Shara Prince was talking about, parents having the say in this. It should be up to the parents on whether you want your kids to wear a mask or not. And so, I think that it prevailed, and it was a narrow decision, and the superintendent was fine with that.
Gotcha. And so it is February 28th then? Is that the date that was agreed upon?
Yeah, that's the date.
Follow the state.
They come back from school vacation.
Right.
School break, and then they come back.
In that week, gotcha.
Basically, the argument was, look, if we put it on February 28th, we only have like 2 days to message this. But, you got to remember, kids haven't been Gloucester did a bang up job of having school last year in person. A lot of districts didn't do that. A lot of them were doing hybrid or remote. Dares. That was my old job.
Mhm.
Gloucester really did a bang up job of doing that. And so I think, if you think about it, there are kindergartens, first graders who haven't seen their classmates' face in class in like a year and a half.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
So I think the feeling is it's a big change. It's going to be a big change going into these schools, and the kids aren't all sealed up. I was in the Beeman school for their 100th day celebration, and all the kids had the masks on. All the staff. So it's going to be an adjustment, but I think it's going to be a good one. Give everyone a sense of normalcy, and the cases are way down.
Yeah. There you go. And not bad when the decision's followed by a 60-degree day around here too. People want to get out and about.
Wipe out that virus. Get outside. Wipe out that virus.
Let's do it. Okay, great work, Ethan. Next, you want to talk about the murals at Sawyer Free Library.
Yeah, and then again, this is an introduction for me to the city. I've heard about the murals, and so in January, the city council approved money, about $81,000 out of the Community Preservation Committee funding for the restoration of murals and the stabilization of the Saunders House at the Sawyer Free Library. And so the library's corporation funds are going to match that. It's a $163,000 project. And so I went over there with their PR person, Tracy Davis, and I also spoke to Jenny Benedict, the library director, and I had a problem figuring out which murals were funded by this grant, because I was like thinking, well, there's the Stoddard murals.
There's a lot of murals, yeah.
The Stoddard murals were done in 1934, so Depression era WPA project, Works Progress Administration project. The murals in the office space in the Anderson room were done about 1980 by Howard Curtis. And those are scenes of ships off Greenland, and around surrounded by icebergs and stuff like that. Those are the murals that are being funded by the city's community preservation funding. And but the bigger project really is stabilizing that old house. It's got a rotted sill in the back. The foundation needs some brick and mortar work, and I think preserving that really cool, funky old building in the heart of Gloucester is a really worthwhile project, and it shows you what the community preservation funding can do. And I'll put in a plug. Let me just put in a plug now.
Sure. Yeah.
I am writing about the Community Preservation Committee and their next round of grants. And if you want to be eligible, if you're a Gloucester resident organization, and you think you have a project in recreation, affordable housing, historic preservation, a lot of historic preservation in Gloucester.
Open spaces.
Open space, recreation. The eligibility form has to be submitted by March 8th. It's the preliminary form. So that deadline is coming up, and I'll be writing about that in an upcoming issue.
Great. And we got to interview Matt Lundberg of the Community Preservation Committee a couple of days ago. And so we'll have that link up there for you to bring people directly to that application spot on the city's website.
Yeah, it's a really worthwhile program that the city does. It's a 1% surcharge on your property tax, but it's free money from the state. State match now is about 43%.
Yeah.
43 cents on every dollar you give to community preservation. It generates about $1 million bucks. Don't hold me to that, but it's about $1 million bucks a year.
Yep, you're right.
For these and they did worthwhile. We talked about I don't know if we talked about the YMCA project, affordable housing project downtown on Middle Street, and community preservation funds are being used with other funds, the Affordable Housing Trust and another grant, to leverage $22 million for that worthwhile 44 unit senior housing project. So these community preservation funds, even though it seems like it's low totem pole projects or priorities, really do make a difference.
They do. I totally agree. And I think they're working on 9 projects right now. So yeah, check out that application process, folks. The clock is ticking towards March 8th and also towards February 28th, kids, to take those masks off if you choose to.
Well, that's important too, because the superintendent was talking about making sure that there's not bullying. Well, not superintendent, but there was concerns on the school committee. Is there going to be bullying around this? I don't think so.
Right.
But one of the things you can't do, you can't tell somebody when they come back from isolation, a 5-day isolation period, legally, privacy concerns, you can't tell them to wear the mask. So you don't want to single somebody out, say, oh, you got to wear a mask because you came back after you tested positive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really delicate time. And I think a lot of kids are going to want to wear masks. And I think a lot of kids are going to be done with it. We'll see.
There you have it. Okay, nice work as always, Ethan. Have a great weekend. We will catch you on the other side. What are you doing for school vacation week?
I'm here.
Wow, so am I. Yeah.
I'll be working.
Yeah. Right.
No vacation, no days off.
Yeah, this is true. All right, have a good one, and we'll catch you soon.
Thank you, Corey.
Interested in a sponsorship? Email sponsor@1623studios.org to learn more.